Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Tom York and I'm 23 years old. Now, the fact I was born in the early 2000s means that I cannot possibly stand here and pretend to have all the answers. What I do have, though, are lived experiences and a deep respect for the people in this room who are making decisions in an industry that is going through real change. So I'd like to start by asking a question. If, over the course of this conference, you've heard something that's challenged how you think about resilience, whether personally or professionally, would you mind raising your hand? Good, everyone's still awake. Me too. We've heard from people with decades of experience, sharp insights, and serious responsibility. But what I hope that Fiona and I can bring in this final session is something that's easy to lose in a digital, data-driven world. The perspective that comes from personal connection, human connection. Because resilience, whether in people, businesses, or whole sectors, doesn't start with frameworks. It starts up here with our mindset. 2 years ago, I sat where you are now, attending my very first Oxford Farming Conference. I was 21 at the time, still at university, trying to figure out my place in this industry. If I'm being honest, I don't feel nearly qualified enough to be standing on this stage today. The weight of the decisions faced by those in this industry felt enormous, even from the audience. So today, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to share some real experiences and the lessons they've taught me, and try and connect them to the moment that UK agriculture finds itself in now. So before I talk about resilience, I think it's important that I touch on why this subject matters so deeply to me. Unlike many in this industry, I didn't grow up on a farm. My route into agriculture came through study, recently graduating from Harper Adams, and choosing a sector built on responsibility, long-term thinking, but most importantly, built on community. Agriculture has given me so many incredible opportunities. Life, at times, has given me something else. I was born to the two most loving parents imaginable, but at the age of 5, I was given the news that Mum had gone to heaven to join the angels. Growing up, I became the protective older brother to my sister, which led to me bottling up a lot of my emotions. Throughout school, I gained a huge amount of weight, often being bullied as the fat kid. After my first day working on a farm, I was fired, purely down to my lack of experience. In agricultural college, I decided to make a move 3 hours away from home for a placement year at the age of 16, which ended up being 12 months filled with depression, isolation, and loneliness. So I turned to what many broken people in their late teens do: alcohol. I drink because it allowed me to get upset, and for me, it was the easy escape from the heavy trauma I'd let build up over the years. I was very lucky to have a strong support network around me. I went through counselling, started to excel at university, and just as life was taking a turn for the better, I received a phone call that no one should ever have to receive, that my best friend had taken his own life. I stand up here today not defined by these experiences, but with a mindset that life carries on, and that every challenge can be worked through. And that comes through effort and by using the resources that we have available to us. Friends, family, colleagues. Some challenges feel too big for us in the moment. That's because they probably are. If I took one lesson from all these situations, it's that life will, inevitably, throw challenges at you. And that's a feeling that I think many in this room will recognise, because UK agriculture is operating in a world that feels brittle, anxious, and unpredictable. Decisions are being made that carry more risk than certainty, a lot of them completely out of our control. So when I talk about resilience today, I'm not talking about toughing it out. I'm talking about confidence, the confidence to adapt, to invest, to make decisions without perfect clarity. That's what I want to focus on by sharing 3 lessons that life has taught me so far. Lesson 1, belief is built, not given. In 2024, I completed an Ironman triathlon. For anyone unfamiliar, it's a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a marathon, back to back. It took me 12 and a half hours. A few years earlier, I was almost 40 kilograms heavier than I am now. Had no background in triathlon, no expensive equipment, and quite frankly, no idea what I was doing. But after volunteering with the Farming Community Network and deciding to raise money and awareness for mental health in farming, I decided to do something that I knew would be tough. So I clicked the sign-up button, probably a bit too eagerly, to a race that was described on the website as one of the toughest endurance events on the planet. But you see, this story isn't about physical or mental toughness. It's about belief. Because belief doesn't arrive before action. It's built through it. I wasn't confident the first time I tried to clip into my road bike and fell off. I wasn't confident when I broke my foot playing football just 12 weeks out from the race. And I certainly wasn't confident halfway through the race when my brain kept shouting at me to stop, you haven't got anything left to give. But every training session, every mistake, every time I told myself, just keep moving forward, that's where belief was built. Resilience isn't talent or luck, it's the accumulation of effort long before we see any results. That's something that this industry understands deeply. Growth in business, systems, or people takes time, patience, but it requires intent. Lesson 2, failure is a comma, not a full stop. Growing up, I thought I simply wasn't good enough. At school, I couldn't sit still, I struggled to focus, and almost every parents' evening, I was described as capable but inconsistent. What I told myself was, Tom, you're a failure. It wasn't until I was 20 that I was diagnosed with a condition known as ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. For a long time, I did see those years as failure. But what I've learned since that is this, that failure is a comma, not a full stop. Just like a sentence, a comma doesn't end it, the direction simply changes. You can't always control the challenges that are in front of you, but you can choose whether it becomes an ending or a turning point. For years, I treated my ADHD as something to work against. Now I see it as one of my biggest superpowers. It shapes my determination, my creativity, and my ability to keep going when progress wasn't linear. In September, I graduated Harper Adams with a first-class honours, something that 15-year-old Tom, who thought he was a failure, would have never imagined. So there's proof that the challenge doesn't have to be the thing that defines you. How you react to the challenge does. UK agriculture is operating in a world where linear progress is no longer the normality. Constant changes, consistent shifting, previous assumptions that don't hold. But those moments don't have to be full stops. Sectors, like people, that treat disruption as a comma can adapt, redesign, and find new ways forward. Lesson 3, every challenge gives you 2 options. Losing a parent at the age of 5 didn't teach me resilience in the moment. It scarred me. I think the hardest part about it all is knowing how much Mum has missed. First day at big school, turning 18, getting an offer to attend university, receiving awards and scholarships for my dedication to mental health in the farming community, and most recently, the day I was offered my first full-time job in agriculture after graduating. Mum grew up on the family farm, one she moved away from before I was born, but it was a place that I spent much of my childhood. It's where my connection to farming began, long before I ever thought it would become my career. When I got that job offer, I remember feeling an overwhelming sense of pride. Pride that I had found my place in an industry that she grew up in. An industry that in many ways had shaped both of us. But with the pride came the sense of absence, the moment you want to share with someone who isn't there. And it was through moments like these, not through the big speeches or the crazy endurance events, that I began to understand it. When life presents you with something painful, unfair, or unexpected, you're given 2 options. You can take the easier route, avoid it, bury it, keep going without ever really facing it, or you can take the harder route, to sit with it, to work through it, to climb the mountain rather than avoid it. For a long time, I did try and avoid it. I kept busy, I distracted myself, I told myself I was fine. But avoidance doesn't make the problem disappear, it just delays the work. It was only when I accepted the challenge and chose to face what I'd lost that something began to change. It wasn't an overnight fix, but through counselling, which for me was extremely hard, I began to build confidence, Not that things would be easy, but that I could respond when they weren't. I learned that the harder route is where transformation really happens. And every farming business in this room is facing challenges that it didn't choose. But just like in life, the future of this industry won't be defined by the shocks, but by how we respond to them. Resilience isn't about being strong, it's about becoming strong through the challenges that you don't choose. So 3 experiences, the Ironman, growing up with ADHD, and losing mum, have shaped my understanding of resilience far more than any quote or framework ever could. And they all point to the same truth. Resilience isn't something that we're born with, something that you have to earn through decisions, direction, and consistency. But it's rarely built alone. I can confidently say that I would not be stood up here today with these stories if it wasn't for all the people in my life that have supported me through them. This sector has made me realize what it means to be a part of a community. And over time, I've come to realize that I think this is probably the industry's greatest strength. So, if you take nothing else from my stories, I'd ask you to just do one simple thing. Look at the person next to you. Take a moment to look around this room. These are all people who are navigating uncertainty, pressure, and change. But the one common factor between all of us, we're still choosing to show up. And if resilience is built through showing up, what does that say about the future of an industry filled with people like this? And beyond this room, your teams, your neighbours, your families, your friends, the people who show up early, stay late, and carry on no matter what. And from where I'm stood up here, looking out across the room, I see resilient people. I see people that are practical, people that are human, people that may not have all the answers or quite feel ready for it, but I see people that are prepared to move forward. In a period of real change, it's easy to focus on what's fragile. But what gives me confidence in the future of UK agriculture is this. It's an industry that's built on its people. The ones who care, ones who are passionate, and ones who stand together. Resilience doesn't come from carrying everything yourself. It comes from being part of something bigger. So as you look around the room and you leave today, have hope. Hope that whatever the future holds, we don't have to face it alone. And that matters because the future of this industry will not be shaped by certainty. It will be shaped by its people, the ones who are willing to adapt, to collaborate, and to keep moving forward, even when the path isn't clear. And as someone at the very start of their journey in this industry, I don't say this from the outside. I say it standing alongside you. Because that is where we build belief, that is where our confidence grows, and that is how resilient futures are made. And I'd like to finish on one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard. Life is not about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.